Greetings, I'm out here in the woods again. Weather's still crazy. It's gone all overcast now. When I left it was all sunny. So I might get caught in the rain again. But I'm standing in what I think when I did some I know I did some dowsing here. I'm in some woods and I'd asked my sticks, this was like last year or a year before, was there a stone circle in these woods? And it showed me this area. And I've been dowsing it for on and off for a few years. There's definitely ley lines going through it, though I need to redo it, like dowsing, and check to see whether it's earth energies, because there's a difference apparently between ley lines and earth energies, which I'm still learning about. But this woods last year was suddenly changed by the local commission. They decided to get rid of lots of the trees, and they wanted to try and clear a lot of it away. Craziness. But, you know, I'm not in charge, so I can't stop them. But I wanted to show you this bit. Is kind of like I'm in a kind of a dip. And it's unusual for stone circles to be on top of a kind of a hill. Normally they're in a valley or, you know, at the bottom of a hill. But I found out recently that a lot of stone circles that are on top of the hills were Druid stone circles. Maybe the Druids made use of them, because I still don't think the Druids made the stone circles. But the ones on top of hills are normally called Druid ones. And this would have, in the past, looked out over lots of land. Behind me is going down the hill. Obviously it's grown up a forest now. Or maybe there were trees here then. Got more of the natural trees behind me. And then the pine trees that were planted in the last 100 years are here, which hopefully are the ones they've been trying to take out, even though I still don't like trees being removed. But from my own dowsing investigations, I'm going to go up a little bit now. So I'm standing in a dip, and I believe the stones were around the edge. Let's see if I can move my fingers. Around the edge, around this bit, around the top, around here. And over in that direction, over there, are some old yew trees, which are normally by standing stone circles. I can't get to them at the moment because of where they've taken all the trees down round here. They've blocked what was the way I used to go to it. So what I find interesting about this is that there's a dip and the stones around it. So I think this is probably, the energy is in the middle of this circle, and this way, coming up the hill, would probably have been the entrance, according to my dowsing sticks, into the stone circle. And I was asking my dowsing sticks when were the stones removed, and it says it was probably about 800 years ago. And then I was also asking it how many, but to be honest, every time I've done it, the numbers have been a bit different. They've gone either 13, 14 or 16 in the few times that I've come up here and done a dowsing and asked. And I asked if there are any stones buried beneath still here, and it says no. But what I find quite interesting is where I am here, we have the sun would normally rise behind and come up, and midday is normally over there and would come straight down into this circle. Throughout the year I've noticed, or, you know, slightly over there a little bit in the winter, does come directly onto here. So, you know, my question, as many people's questions are about stone circles, are what were they for? And why are there so many different styles? None of them are the same. So I was asking about this one on my dowsing sticks. And obviously with dowsing you have to ask questions that give a yes or no answer, because it can't speak to me in a sentence or a language, apart from with a yes or no, affirmation, negative. And it was telling me that it was used for many centuries, and people would come up the hill to come into it. It didn't want to say who made it. When I tried to say humans, it was being a bit half yes, half no. So I find that quite strange. I wonder if it means it was a different type of human. What we have over here, which I just walked backwards. So the stone circle would have been here. I'm sort of standing on the edge of it now. And then over here we have a dike, which the historians say was made by the Saxons. So we have this dike down here, it goes that way. Stone circle would have been over there. And then carry on down the dike down this way. And this runs through the woods, this dike. So I asked the dowsing sticks, was this made by the Saxons? And it actually said it was made older than that, so it's always been here. Well, not always, but you know, someone else had made it. So that's quite interesting that this dike was made and then the stone circles next to it. Like, what was this dike for? Was it a pathway? Was it collecting energies? Maybe it's a earth energy line running through it, because on a few times I've doused a ley line through it, through this going along. And then other times I found the ley lines going across here, because ley lines move, they fluctuate around, or earth energy lines. So over here would be like someone's burnt a bit of wood there, but that was one of the trees that was round the circle. And over here, it's hard to tell on a film, so that's the middle there. But I'd always found it interesting that there's a kind of like a path round it, round what I would say is the stone circle where the stones were, which nothing's really ever grown on. Except for on that side, the bramble has managed to grow. But there were no maps of the ancient times of this area, so I can't look up what stones there were in the past. I wanted to bring my dowsing sticks and film them, but I need somebody else. I can't douse and hold the camera at the same time. But I've always felt this was quite a special place. So, you know, maybe in your own areas there are places where the stones used to be, the megaliths, maybe a circle, a row of an avenue of stones. I'm going to do a film soon on the ones that I was hearing all about that used to be in Glastonbury. I managed to get one of the old maps which shows some of the stones, so I've got to put that all together. But just doing some exploring and trying to put my own map together of different places that had stone circles. I'm a few towns away from Deptford, and Deptford's further into London. It's still southeast London. And there used to be a giant stone circle there, so big that even the Romans made their roads go round it. And where it was, someone has now done a big mural picture of it. I should go up there and take a picture of it really for you. But and there's done a big painting on the wall of the shops of where this giant stone circle had been. So I need to find out when that was taken down, because if the Romans went round it, then it must have still been around in the early centuries of the Common Era, as they say, after Domino. And I've been making up, or not making up as an imagination, but getting maps and trying to work out where different stone circles were that were once lost. And this was something John Michell was trying to encourage people to do, to go and douse and find out where all these stone circles or solitary stones were. What were they doing? Can they pick up ley lines near them? Were they erected at certain places to get the energies of the earth, or energies that are flowing through the earth or under the earth? Is the energy coming up from the earth? Is it an energy that's coming up from the earth and meeting the cosmic rays coming down from the planets and the sun, of course, the sun energy that we need? Which is something I wonder if Gurdjieff himself was dealing with. I don't know if many of you know that he actually, during the Russian Revolution, went out off to the Caucasus, and he managed to get permission to go on an exhibition to look for standing stones and dolmens and such like in that area. And I'd love to see them records and notes that he made, if he did make any. But he did go and find some, because it's written about in some of the biographies that were from people that were on that time with him in the Caucasus during the Russian Revolution. So he understood somehow, or he knew more, but he's not letting on. You need to find that information of what he thought the stone circles and the standing stones and the megaliths were all about and what they were doing. But he obviously felt there was something significant about them, that they needed to be found. It's just over there is the yew trees. do my hand. It's like doing a mirror. So that way. And I know other people feel this is a bit of a sacred place because I often find ribbons and things on the yew tree. It's kind of hidden away off track as well, so other people that have just found it, hopefully seekers of the truth. I've always found this quite a peaceful area as well. Like all the countryside is, but there's something about here and the energy. I know that further into the woods there's underground water piece that flows from a river that's in what be still the same borough, but along a town or so, and that underwater stream travels through, and a lot of stone circles are built on above underwater streams. And Maria Wheatley talks about how there's water that comes up from the earth and water that comes down from the sky. The water that comes up from the earth is the streams that normally stone circles are built on, or megaliths are put in on to. Let's see if you can. Oh no, it's gone now. I was trying to catch the raindrops coming from the trees. There's a bit of wind blew through. It's very magical. So I feel finding them kind of places are important for ourselves, because we can perhaps connect with the energies to help us develop ourselves. And I know many of you live in cities, but the cities used to be, part of the ancient sites before there were cities built on them. They would have had people involved with the stone building, or whoever they were. And as we know, for those of you that are megalithomaniacs, there were stone circles and there's standing stones in almost every country of the world. So there was something that was going on across the globe. So I do recommend getting the old dowsing sticks out, or your pendulums or whatever, and go and doing some dowsing and see if you can find any in your area. Because it'd be nice to be able to make up some kind of map of ones that have been since lost. And see if we can find some kind of pattern to it, or if any of you are interested in doing something like that and do have any results, you can find my email through my website, as many of you have, because I correspond with quite a lot of you. Maybe we can get some kind of project or paper written on it, or the wind's blowing. It's nice. So, this is me talking from what used to be a stone circle area in Bexley. Until next time, enjoy your adventures out and about, and let's go megalith hunting together. Peace. I forgot to mention that these woods that I live in are renowned for UFOs. I've seen one myself when I was a teenager, and I also saw one in 2020 in the second week in this area. I'm talking about UFOs in this area. And a few years ago I saw a ball of light heading towards these woods. Now there's a woman called Margaret Fry who wrote a book all about her experiences in this area. This is Bexley Heath area in southeast London, and all the UFOs that she used to see coming in and out of the woods. And I've spoken to various people who won't go on record, who have also talked about seeing strange lights. And sometimes you can come into these woods and there's a throbbing sound. Be sitting here waiting, hoping a UFO will suddenly come rushing out of the bushes or something. Not happened yet. So I wondered, as many people do, as we talk about at various conferences I've been to, and these ideas are out there. This isn't nothing new, but many people talk about the UFOs follow ley lines, or the electrical magnetic lines of the planet Earth. Are they coming down to recharge, or maybe that's what they flow along or use. I don't know, it's all strange stuff, isn't it? What are UFOs? Are they coming from underground, or are they coming down from the sky? Because in Margaret Fry's book, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but I know it's available on Kindle still, or on Amazon. The book itself as a paperback's quite hard to get hold of these days, but she talks about how the UFOs that she knows of were coming out from the woods. So were they coming out from the ground and going up? I don't know. But her book's interesting to read, all them kind of accounts. But I know most people I spoke to about the encounters here, it's more being the orbs and the lights. So of course you've got the will-o'-the-wisps and things like that. And John Michel himself wrote a book about how maybe all the ancient myths of the fairies and the little folk, as they call them, the magical beings, maybe they were aliens and it was all part of alien abductions. Well, really, what people then later on went on to say were fairies and such like, or elves or whatever. But maybe they were these alien beings. But that would make it interesting about if they are coming from underground, because that's where many people say that's where the little folk have gone to. They live under the earth now, they stay away from us. I personally think they're in a different dimension, but they're still living with us. And also this woods that I live next to has many tunnels underground. They link to Chislehurst Caves, which many people will probably have heard of. You know, Jimi Hendrix used to play there and Led Zeppelin in the 1970s when I was just a little baby, so I didn't go to them. But I used to go to a few parties there in the 1980s. But obviously there's all the different ideas of what's going on with the caves and the tunnels that are underground. And are they linked somehow to the earth energies and the earth lines that are flowing around the planet? I used to love a bit of cave climbing when I was younger. I used to go to all kinds of places where you could do a bit of that. It could be quite spooky. I don't know if any of you have ever done it. You go down into a cave, like really deep down, and then you turn off your headlight and you're in the blackest of the blackest. You know, you can't see a thing. It is an incredible sensation. It really is. Can't really explain it any better than that. You've just like being in the void. Can't see anything, can't feel anything unless you're by the wall or anything. You just don't know what's in front of you. Your senses are completely thrown around. But yeah, I don't do that kind of thing anymore. But I do love going wandering around the country, looking at the land, and to be at one with the land, and trying to fathom all these mysteries, as I'm sure you guys are as well. So some sacred places are marked by nature. Got a beautiful setting here that I come to quite often. This was all natural that's behind me. And people would be going, no, somebody put that together. But I'm telling you now, this is how the trees and everything have come together. And I'm standing on, we thought it was a portal when we first discovered it, but I see now it is a healing site. It's got wonderful energies flowing through it. And it's got a underground stream that connects to a river that's about a mile away. And that river's bringing up water from the ground, as I was saying earlier about Maria Wheatley. Go and check out her talks about the waters from the earth. And this area has always got wonderful energies about it. Now that's weird, because it's not cold, so why is there... But at these sites, you can feel the energies and heal yourself, revive yourself. And if you haven't got anywhere like this around your area, you can also go to cathedrals. I know many people poo-poo this idea of going to a cathedral because of its connotations with the religion it's with. But it was made, the Gothic ones were made to geometrical, harmonious dimensions. And I often go to one to go and hear the monks singing or the choir song. I go along for that. Isn't that weird, the condensation? Anyway. Help to harmonise you because you can feel their singing, you know, the power of the voice going around the building, and then working with the harmony of the structure of the building, then reverberates in yourself and helps your body. So I don't go to cathedrals for the sermons or anything like that. I try to go to them when it's the monks singing or the choir singing, or even on quiet time, it's nice to be peaceful and perhaps do a bit of you know, or just humming to yourself, or mantras, you know, I am, in the cathedral. Helps yourself, your body, your mind, and your emotions. So we have to find these places, these sacred places to go to. And as many of you know, churches were built on top of ancient sites, so even you could go to just an old church. Some of these modern ones aren't, especially the square ones. Got to be careful of how buildings are made. You know, I'm treading on sticks. The square buildings, in them corners is where the dark forces gather and stagnate as they work down upon you. You should be in nice round buildings or curved rooms, which is why some people, like I myself, I've got on my ceiling, I put some material up so that it's like an upside down tent in a way, but to try to keep the energy flowing, not getting stagnant in a corner. Those of you that follow anthroposophy, Rudolf Steiner, if you've been to any of the Rudolf Steiner houses or to Dornach, he's had all the buildings made so that they've got curves in them. The doors are curved and not square angles on them. The ceilings curve so that the energies can flow round. Because we don't want stagnant, dark forces in our corners looking down on us and jumping on us. You know, it's always good to smudge your corners, cleanse out your corners, send a prayer to your corners. I don't know, call down Archangel Michael to clear your corners of your houses. Should be in round houses, not square houses. Be a roundie, not a squarey, as Roger Hargreaves used to write books on. And a few of you got in touch saying, yeah, I used to read them books when I was a child. He wrote the Mr. Men books, which most people read, but he also wrote this other series about whether you're a roundie or a squarey. They're quite hard to get hold of. We want to be roundies, not squaries. So, to all you lovely roundies, I hope you find your sacred places and places to go and sit in and become channeled and one.